In the far reaches of the galaxy, where stars burned like scattered jewels across endless darkness, there existed a dragon species unlike any other. These dragons were massive, their scales shimmering with iridescent hues, and their minds as sharp as the plasma storms that raged on their home planets. But among them was a young female dragon named Valera, whose scales were a deep silver with hints of blue, a rarity that should have marked her as special. Yet, in the eyes of her own kind and worse, the galaxy at large, she was considered flawed. Valera was infertile. It was not only a personal tragedy, it was a societal condemnation. Among dragons, the ability to reproduce was the ultimate measure of worth. Those unable to bear offspring were shunned, dismissed, and often exiled. Valera wandered from system to system, seeking sanctuary, only to be met with cold judgment. She became a ghost story whispered among starfaring traders, a cautionary tale of rejection and loneliness. Then, on the rim of the Andorras cluster, she was gravely injured during a violent skirmish with space pirates. Her wing was broken, and one of her claws shattered, leaving her unable to escape the approaching predators. It was there, on a desolate planet pocked with crystalline canyons, she met Kayla, human doctor known across nearby systems, not for his courage, but for his unorthodox compassion. Kale had no interest in fame, only in healing. When he saw Valera, he saw beyond the rumors, beyond the whispered judgments. "Hold still," he said, voice steady but gentle. The dragon's eyes, enormous and liquid, with pain and fear, flickered with distrust. Valera had been betrayed before, but something in Kale's calm resolve made her hesitate. His hands moved with precision, not brute force, as he set her wing and treated her injuries. It took days, then weeks. Kale scavenged the planet for rare herbs, synthesized medicines from the local flora, and even devised a floating sling to support her while she recovered. No one else would have bothered. To the galaxy, Valera was worthless. To Kale, she was alive. In the months that followed, they formed an unlikely bond. Valera, unable to speak in human languages, communicated through thought pulses and subtle gestures. Kale learned to read her moods, her silences, her sighs that carried the weight of centuries of rejection. They shared moments of quiet on the cliffs overlooking binary suns, of laughter in the gravity-warped pools where Valera swam despite her injuries, and of trust that grew so profound it seemed almost sacred. But life is rarely free of cruelty. News eventually reached them. A dragon council had issued a decree, banning any human from interacting with their kind, citing Kale's interference with dragon natural law. Valera could have left him, could have retreated into the void where humans could not follow. Instead, she chose to stay, defying centuries of tradition because he had shown her what it meant to be valued beyond what she could give. Years passed. Kale continued his work, treating creatures from across galaxies who were rejected, injured, or forgotten. Valera grew stronger, though the sting of her infertility remained. She carried herself with dignity now, no longer the exile but the survivor. Yet even she could not erase the lingering void of what the galaxy told her she could never achieve. And then, one quiet cycle, something miraculous happened. While navigating a newly discovered nebula rich with exotic minerals, Valera paused mid-flight. Her eyes glimmered with a light Kale hadn't seen before. From within her, a small, shimmering life form emerged. Dragonette, radiant and vibrant, scales like molten starlight. The galaxy had labeled her infertile, her worth null. Yet against every law, every expectation, she had brought forth life. Kale's breath caught. He approached slowly, hands trembling not in fear, but in awe. Valera nudged the dragonette toward him, and the creature coiled around his arm, chirping in a language older than most civilizations. For a moment, the universe itself seemed to pause, acknowledging that sometimes miracles happen where they are least expected. Valera's eyes met Kale's. In that gaze was gratitude, love, and a quiet defiance toward the galaxy that had scorned her. She had lived, she had survived, and she had given life, and she had chosen him, the human who had never abandoned her. The healer, who had seen her beyond labels and limitations, to witness it. From that day forward, Valera and Kale traveled the stars together, their small dragonet growing between them. They became a legend not because of their power, but because of their resilience. They reminded every corner of the galaxy that worth is not dictated by the majority, nor by tradition, but by the courage to care, to heal, and to believe in life when all else seems lost. The galaxy had rejected her once, but Valera and Kale had rewritten the story. And in doing so, they proved that love, compassion, and a single act of faith could defy even the stars.